All right, let's get into it. Right now, there is something really weird going on in the U.S. grain markets. It's a whole story of conflicting numbers, totally unpredictable weather, and global tension. And it's created this puzzle that has everyone, traders, analysts, farmers, scratching their heads, trying to figure out what is coming next.
So here is the central mystery, the big question. On August 12th, the USDA comes out and forecasts a record-shattering corn crop. Now, you'd think, right? Basic economics, huge supply should mean prices go down. But no. Since that very day, corn futures have been rallying. The market is clearly betting that the official story isn't the whole story.
So, what is causing all this doubt? Well, it boils down to this classic debate between two totally different ways of looking at things. You've got the official government forecast on one side and the view from someone with boots on the ground on the other. And the size of this disagreement is what's just fascinating. Look at this. On one side, you have the USDA with this massive projection, 188.8 bushels per acre. But then, the annual Pro Farmer Crop Tour, the one where they send scouts out into the actual fields across 7 states, they came back with a much, much lower number, 182.7. That's a 6.1 bushel per acre gap. That is huge.
And that difference in yield, it translates into a truly staggering number. We're talking about a gap of over 500 million bushels of corn. That is more than enough to swing the entire market from bearish to bullish. This 500 million bushel question mark is exactly what the market is trying to figure out and price in right now.
Okay, so you've got two conflicting stories. The market is desperately looking for clues to figure out which one is closer to reality. And the first, and the most unpredictable clue, is coming from the sky, the weather.
Right as this supposed record crop is in its final, crucial stage, this unexpected cool and dry pattern just parks itself over the heart of the Corn Belt. You hear it all across Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. The sentiment is the same. Just give me one more rain. Because without it, this dry spell could literally take the top end off those huge yield projections. The whole crop is under some serious stress at the worst possible time.
And this quote from weather analyst Eric Snodgrass, it just says it all. The forecast models that were calling for a hot, stormy end to August, completely wrong. With so much writing on this profound uncertainty about the weather is making everybody second guess just how big this crop is truly going to be.
But listen, the supply story, how much we're growing, that's only half the picture. To really get what's happening, you have to look at demand. And over there, we find a tale of two completely different crops, corn and soybeans.
The point here is that demand for U.S. corn is absolutely red hot. New crop export sales aren't just strong, they are, and this is a quote, absolutely on fire. The pace of bookings is more than double what we saw in the last 2 years combined at this point. Buyers all over the world are just lining up to get their hands on U.S. corn.
But then you look at soybeans, and it's a totally different world. Because of the ongoing trade war, China, who's usually this massive buyer, has literally zero new crop U.S. soybean sales on the books. Nothing. Instead, all the reports show they're just turning to Brazil to get what they need, which leaves this huge hole in U.S. export demand.
And this is all being driven by protectionism. Beijing's ambassador to the U.S. said recently that these policies are just undermining agricultural cooperation, and he warned that farmers shouldn't be the ones paying the price for the trade war. It's just a stark reminder of how much geopolitics can directly hit the American farmer's wallet.
So, as the combines get ready to roll, we're just left with a harvest of uncertainty. You've got a supply debate, a demand story that's split in two, and it's all playing out in this incredibly complex global economic environment.
Yeah, it's so important to remember this isn't happening in a vacuum. You've got the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaling they might cut interest rates. That could weaken the dollar, which would make U.S. commodities cheaper for other countries to buy. At the exact same time, geopolitical conflicts are pushing energy prices up, and these trade disputes hitting soybeans, they're just one piece of a much, much larger global economic puzzle.
So, what should you be watching to see how this all shakes out? Well, first, keep your eyes peeled for reports from the first combines that hit the fields. That's where the debate meets reality. Second, China's next move. Any sign of a thaw in trade talks could totally flip the soybean market. And finally, that next USDA report in September. The big question is, will they bring that massive forecast down closer to what the crop tour actually saw in the fields?
Which really leaves us with this final thought. Even if the yield is closer to that lower number, it is still a historically massive crop. So for farmers who are already dealing with a storage crunch and prices that are all over the place, the The real question is, will pulling in the biggest harvest of their lives end up being a blessing or a curse?